Good morning and welcome to this morning's Enlightenment series here on Facebook live, also on YouTube. We're not live on YouTube, but we take this program and we post it on YouTube as well. So wherever you are watching the program at, if you're on Facebook and you have not already liked or followed this page, Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, I would ask you to please like and follow so that you can be notified when programs like this are being uploaded and started. If you're on YouTube and you're catching this program, please subscribe to our channel. We want this enlightenment style, these healthy accounting, these healthy life principles to be spread all over the world. So if you are catching us on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. My name is Jay Moore, and I am your healthy accountant. And today, the title of the broadcast is Concentration, the second C to an enlightened life. And yesterday we started everything off by talking about the journey that Saul is starting to take as he is, beginning his enlightened life, his enlightened journey to understanding who the Messiah was and who the Messiah is. His understanding of what he was doing. And when we started off in chapter 9 of Acts, what we learned is that Paul had been thinking about what he had done to Stephen. And what he had done is he had Stephen stoned. And so you should definitely go back, read all of Acts. Acts is going to give you a good basis of, really how things got started in the movement. So here it is. He's headed because he's got letters of recommendation. He can now freely go about persecuting other members of the movement. But he got stopped along his way. On the road to Damascus, Paul was stopped along the way, and a light shone down. It was Jesus himself, struck Paul with blindness, told Paul that he was persecuting him, told Paul that, he wanted him to do something for him. And as Paul went to Damascus, he had to go there and wait. This is where we get into the concentration effect of an enlightened life. And so in verse number, let's see, we'll start in verse number 7 and go all the way to verse number 9. So Acts chapter 9, 7 through 9. The men who were with Saul stood speechless. They had heard a voice, but because of the bright light, didn't see anyone. When Saul stood up and opened his eyes, he realized that he was totally blind. His companions had to lead him by the hand to the rest of the way to the city. For the next 3 days, Saul sat in a room blind, refusing to eat, his mind going over the prophecies about the Messiah. And so I'm going to stop there because this is where he started to concentrate on what it is that he knew. And remember, Saul did not believe in Christ. He did not believe in what he had been seeing and hearing. Christ had been crucified already. He was persecuting all of the disciples. He was persecuting all of the individuals who was a part of this movement. He did not believe. He was going on what he had already learned. See, because Paul was very smart. Paul had studied under some of the top people. Imagine if you studied under some of the top people and they taught you everything they knew. If they showed you all of the books and they taught you all of the scriptures, they showed you, they laid it out, and he knew it all. So he was highly educated. He was like a PhD. So imagine a PhD. If you go to a PhD with new thoughts that you cannot prove, he's not going on that. A PhD is going to say, look, this is This is all of the information that I already have. And you can't tell me otherwise because they've already argued, they've already argued their point to get their PhD. So imagine Paul's a PhD. And here he is trying to deal with the fact that people were going against, they were going against the traditions of what was already set out. This is the basis of what his belief already is. And so he's just going out and just persecuting. But now he's there. He's sitting in a room and he has to concentrate on what he knows, the scriptures. He couldn't read anything. See, at this point, Paul is blind. He wouldn't eat. He wouldn't do anything. He now was just sitting there concentrating. What do I know? What do I know is true? What do I know is true? Imagine just sitting in a room, sitting, trying to figure out what you know. I'm reading this book called Principles, right? It's written by a guy named Ray Dalio. I've mentioned him before on some of the programs. And as I was reading some interesting passages in this book this morning, it really made me think. I want you to think about decision making. Think about the decisions that you make. And usually people make decisions based on the first level of consequence. So we can use, say, losing weight. Typically, people make a decision on what they should do based on the initial outcome. So if I needed to lose weight, then the first thing I'm going to feel is pain. I don't want to feel that pain. I'm not going to do it. But then what he talks about in this book is the second and third order of consequences that you get as a result of of the decision you made or didn't make. So the person that decides not to go through this pain, then what happens is what happens later. The second order consequence could be, well, maybe they come down with an illness, maybe, or maybe they're overweight, right? So maybe the overweight is first. And then the overweight's going to lead them to an illness, which in essence might lead them to an early death. That's the second order consequences. And so here it is. You're sitting like, wait a second. I can't just make a decision based on the first order consequence, the pain. So Saul, going back to Saul, he made his initial decisions based on first order consequence. His first order consequence was that this didn't seem true based on what he knew. He didn't look at the second and third. He didn't go and say, well, what if it is true? Then what will come of me if this is true? You know, and then if this is true, what's going to come of me? What's going to come of all those who don't react and don't do what we should do because of what we know about this Messiah? So these first and second order consequences is serious, because not understanding that, you just spiral out of your life. But here's the thing with concentration, because I want to keep it on how to concentrate. See, we're all concentrating on something. When you wake up in the morning, you are concentrating on something that's inside of you. You're pushing yourself onto something. But do you realize pain is temporary? Like, pain is temporary. So when you think about the decisions that you're making every single day, and because you're concentrating on something, what if you concentrated on something that, yes, it has there may be a high level of pain, but let's think about when the pain subsides. What's going to happen if the pain subsides? See, you're going to get pleasure. Pain comes before pleasure, but most people, here's what most people do. Most people take pleasure first. It's like the person that wants to eat all of the food that tastes the best. See, all the food that might taste the best, in most cases, are the worst for you. You want the pleasure first. We're in the pleasure society. Most people are concentrating on pleasure. But what if you change that? What if you change and say, you know what? If there's no pain in what it is that I'm concentrating on, which concentration is focused, if there is no pain, then I probably shouldn't do it. I need to do things that are painful. You want to do things that will allow you to have pleasure later, because the person that endures the most pain will have the most pleasure. So as you're thinking about this enlightened life that you could have, like concentration is key. Now, I want to tell you something, right? Because I didn't tie this in yesterday. When you first decide to make a change, here's here is how I'm going to tie this in. When you first decide to make a change, you immediately have to concentrate on the change. See, I remember when I decided that change was necessary in my life. I wasn't on the road of enlightenment. Like, enlightenment has come as a result of the change, and then as a result of a lot of concentration on things. I can't even say I was concentrating on one particular thing, because I was concentrating on a bunch of things. But I decided to make a change. And so when I decided to make a change, then I had to fully immerse what I was going to do into this change. And I will use health was my change. That's why I'm the healthy accountant, because it started with physical health. Physical health is something that's important to me because I looked at my family line, my family lineage. I just was talking to someone about this. My family lineage is this. My mother's father died of a heart attack before 55. He might have been, I mean, man, I was in the 70s. So he could have been in his late 40s. No, I think he was I think he was 50. So my mother's mother died at say 50. My father's father died around 50, 52, right? I didn't even know him. And I only met my mother's mother, and I think I might have been at 3 when he passed away. My my father's mother died when I was, I think, 7. And all 3 of these individuals died of heart attacks and complications of diabetes and stroke. And then my mother's mother, she died of Alzheimer's. So she was actually in decent health. Now, she had high blood pressure, but she wound up ultimately passing, I think she was 67, of Alzheimer's. Now, the first 3 was who I focused on, right? And then I looked at my dad. My dad had a heart attack in 2003. I'm like, whoa, 2003, how old was my dad? He was 50, let's see, it's 15, 60, 62, I believe, 61, something like 61. And so my dad has a heart attack. No, I'm sorry, he was in his 50s because that was 2003. Yeah. So my dad had a heart attack in 2003, right after my son was born. And I said, man, I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to change something about what I'm doing if I don't want what he's dealing with. Now, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that I wouldn't become diabetic. There is no guarantee that that I would not, suffer of a heart attack of some sort. There's never a guarantee of that. But the guarantee is, if you are doing the things that at least gives you a leg up, it gives you an opportunity that you could avoid it. Let me do that. Now, I didn't immediately go into this change mode. It took injury. It took some injury. I had an injury to my Achilles in 2008. I believe it was 2008. And after the Achilles, I couldn't play basketball. That was how I basically exercised. I couldn't play basketball for about 9 months. And I gained a bunch of weight. I was probably the biggest that I'd ever been. Probably like, I was about 225, almost 230, which I'm 6'3". And now when I played basketball, like at a very high level, I was about 185. So let's think 185 to 225. Like that's a huge difference there. And so that's where I was. I mean, that's 40 pounds, man, that I had on my body when, later on in my life. So I was highest level playing ball, 185, 24. And at this point, I am 2008, I am 37. I'm 37 years old. And so here it is. I'm 37, I had 40 pounds. So I had to make a change. I decided that I would. And after the Achilles, I started losing weight, but I got on the cycle. I was on the cycle. And, I lost weight, started gaining it back. Lost weight, started gaining it back. And then it was in 2014, I made a clearer distinction as to what I would do. I said, I'm going to live for my health. I'm going to live for my health. Whatever I should do, if it's exercise, if it's, eating the right foods, that's what I'm gonna do. Now I'm still working on it. Like this is a ever evolving situation. But you know what? You just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep doing it. And so because of that change in my health, I had to start concentrating on everything around health. And so it started with physical, then it went to mental, then it went to spiritual, and then it started moving into business and finances and relationship. I said, wait a second, this is life. These are all of the key areas of our life. All came as a result of one change, but the concentration on one change led me to multiple discoveries, multiple enlightening moments. That would not have come. That would not have come if I had gone into this change thinking about the first order consequence. I started thinking about second and third order because I said, well, if I do this, yes, there's going to be pain, but as a result of the pain, I'll have better health. As a result of the pain, I could possibly avoid illness. As a result of this pain, I can actually look better and feel better in my life as a result of this pain. Wow. Look at all of the other things that come out of it. See, this concentration thing is the biggest thing. Even Jesus concentrated. And so as I'm wrapping this up, bringing this all around, when Jesus was baptized, he had to get baptized. Now, Jesus didn't need to be changed, but he needed to concentrate on what he had to do. So he didn't have to go through a change, but he immediately went into concentration mode. After he was baptized by John the Baptist, Jesus went to the wilderness for 40 days, did not eat, fasted and prayed, was tempted to the highest degree. He concentrated because he knew that the pain that he would experience was going to be high. And he knew that he had to be prepared for anything that would pop up on him. And so I'm not saying we got to do 40 days like Jesus, but Paul did 3 days. We've got to do something that will enable us to have a focus and a concentration so that as we're moving into the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth C of an enlightened life, that we will be able to withstand. So today's key is really, you've got to concentrate on that change now. You got to start sifting away all of the things that could take you down and distract you. You got to start moving things that can take you down and not give you the change that you seek. So today, guys, what I want you to do is that look at the change that you're seeking. Look at this change and make I don't even have commitment. I don't even have commitment as a C, but that is a C. But look at change and commit to your change, and then fully concentrate on this change, allowing yourself to feel the pain of growth, and then allowing yourself to continuously move toward this pain. You have to move toward pain in order to get the pleasure that you seek, because you're seeking pleasure. So continue to concentrate on the change. And tomorrow we're going to discuss certainty, because certainty, guys, is key. Knowing that you can do something, knowing that you can do something totally will transform your life. Just knowing it. But guys, you won't know it until you decide to change. And you won't know it unless you're concentrating. So guys, I appreciate you for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow as we discuss the third C of the enlightened life, which is going to be certainty. Guys, if you got any value from this program, please like, share, comment on the program across Facebook. Let others know about this enlightened life. Let others know what you're listening to, what you're watching. If you're on YouTube, do the same. I appreciate you for being with us this far. And I look forward to coming back and sharing this message of the enlightened life with you tomorrow. So God bless you.